Welcome to Disaster Party Podcast. As always, this is Rob Cedeno.
Daddy, it's your boy Andy Vivians. That's Vivians, the one true old daddy of Vivians, INC.
And for those who don't know, this is our weekly news roundup, and we are live on the Instagram.
Yes, we are. What up, Sarah? Yo.
If you guys have not listened to our episode, go back to the episode with Sarah and Tyler, and we plugged in all the fundraising stuff. Go check that episode out if you haven't, because that story was awesome, and let's go help them out.
Facts.
Facts on facts.
Links are everywhere. Click them, check it out, listen to the pod, hear their story. I guarantee you it will change your perception of life. Trust me.
Oh yeah. And have you guys has everyone listened to our episode from last week? Our episode with Stefano, the owner, the creator, the butcher of the Meat Wagon?
Meat Wagon!
If you haven't, I think you should go back. And I think you should check it out.
Yes, they should.
Yes, they should. All right, Andy. So what's up, man? How's your week been, bro? It's been a solid 7 days.
7 days. My week's been it's been pretty good. Nothing really crazy out of the ordinary. Work, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, repeat. Work, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, repeat. Yeah.
I was just gonna say that for if anyone thinks that maybe we're just kind of like, oh, just say something. Literally, Andy and I barely talk about our lives through text message anymore because we're like, just save it for the podcast.
Facts. Something will pop up, and then we'll wind up talking about it on the podcast. And then not only do we know, now you guys know. So you guys are brought into our world.
Yeah. And then we just have a couple group chats with a couple people, so we kind of share shit in there. But for that whole, hey, what's up? How's your week been? It's normally safe for the podcast.
Pretty much.
Yep.
How's your week been?
Oh man, same thing. Daycare lady went on vacation, so it's a little bit of a, what would you say? Like a kind of a circus, trying to figure out daycare and who's gonna watch them, blah blah blah. I'm just kind of like tossing them around to all these different people, just telling them like, hey, watch them for a couple hours. So that was interesting. I finally finished Loki, so I'm pretty excited to review that with you. Yesterday I cut my front bushes. You've seen them.
Yeah.
Okay, so can I tell you, look at my arms. Do you see there's like stuff on my arms? Like,
so
you see how, like,
they can't see it on IG. It looks like a red bumpy rash on Rob's arm.
Yeah, that's like
bumpy rashes.
That's either poison oak or poison ivy. So the reason why I say that is because and it's fucking itchy, and I'm trying not to itch it. I took those bushes down, like, no joke, they were probably about 6 foot or taller.
Probably.
Like, normally I probably keep them around 5 foot, but I haven't been able to trim them in a while because I was working on the fence and everything. I took them down to so I would say maybe it was like 7 foot, almost 7 before I cut it. I took like 3 to 4 feet off.
Oh, wow.
Like, I cut them in half.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it took
me. The bushes were huge too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're like cut in half now. And I, unfortunately, seem to have gotten either poison oak or poison ivy all over me.
Sarah said, oh, no.
Oh, no. Yeah, that kind of sucked. But like, we have this, like, I forgot what it's called, but it's like some pink stuff that's supposed to dry out your skin so you don't itch it. That might be it, yes. Is that pink?
I think so.
Yeah, so if that's it, then
pink, right? Comes in a little pink bottle. So that way it stops like itching and like dries everything out. I think that's it. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, so that was my adventure.
Nice. Yeah. I did, however, realize this week that certain things in life keep pushing me closer and closer and closer to taking that jump and that leap of faith.
Okay.
You remember, it's going all in. And I'm about that close. That close. 'Cause life is too short.
See, I know what you're talking about.
Facts. Facts.
The pod might not know what you're talking about,
So,
but that's okay because there might be people who would get upset if you said what you're talking about on the podcast.
That's fair. That's fair.
See, me and Andy do talk about certain things not on the podcast.
That's a good point. But sometimes you just gotta take that leap and say, "Oh well."
You do you, bro.
You might be alone when you do it. Yeah, that was a swerve. So you might be all by yourself when you do it. Literally. So yeah, I'll let that rock there.
Okay. I didn't know where you were going to take it, so I kind of sat back.
Nope. I'm just gonna let that rock there.
Okay. All right.
Let yourself.
Yep. All right. So why don't we jump into the news?
News.
And let me tell you something. I'm going to do Bitcoin Rob right now.
Bit. We're making you a Bill Nye the Science Guy as Bitcoin Rob. I need a theme. Anybody could do it. We need it.
Okay. All right. But by the time I'm done, I think that you and whoever's listening is going to want to buy more Bitcoin.
Ooh,
and a lot more Bitcoin.
Ooh, do talk about it.
Okay. So here's some news things. Amazon is now preparing to accept Bitcoin on their site.
That's huge.
Huge. That's huge. That's huge. Again, think about how many customers that they have. And think about if they put Bitcoin on the homepage and say, now accepting Bitcoin. How many people do you think that are going to see that and go, wait, Amazon's accepting Bitcoin? Maybe I should look into it.
Bitcoin on Amazon.
I just got a text message. You could, we'll respond to that text message maybe after the pod. Also, Elon Musk said that he believes that Dogecoin is money. So if you have a little bit of Dogecoin, maybe you want to keep buying some, or buying a little bit here, a little bit there, putting it in Gemini, earning 7.4%. Can't complain about that.
This man does not know what he wants to do with Doge.
But he did say that SpaceX, Tesla, and himself all own Bitcoin. And then he said personally he owns Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin.
But he buries Doge like every other week.
No, he doesn't bury Doge. He loves Doge. He buries Bitcoin.
Okay, that's fair.
All right. Ready? Here's for another thing.
All right.
Banks are preparing for Bitcoin. They're getting prepared to either accept, trade, or sell Bitcoin at banks. Banks are currently in the works of getting this shit all together.
Okay, that's big. That's huge. Banks having Bitcoin is huge just because it'll have access to everybody else, which is awesome. It'll grow the value of it. In my opinion, I don't know about y'all, but I am not paying bank fees to get Bitcoin.
No. But again, it gives it allows people who are used to and trust their banks a way or a stream to buy Bitcoin.
Facts.
Okay. So here's the last thing. And this last thing, I think this is what is going to make people want to buy more Bitcoin.
All right. Speak about it.
Okay. So I listened to this podcast, and this guy was in economics, and he's been doing it for 30 plus years. He's been through 2008, bonds, yields, all that other stuff. Like he went into his whole background. He claims that Bitcoin is going to be $2 million for one coin sooner than later. Here's why. And this right here This simple explanation makes so much sense to me. So now I'm like, I need to buy more and a lot of it. He said that there is $900 trillion worth of assets. And that includes cash, that includes real estate, that includes stocks and bonds, that includes, I don't know, collectibles, stuff like that. Basically, $900 trillion and all this stuff. Like all this, like I can go on and on and on. He's saying that if 5%, that's it, ends up in Bitcoin, 5% is $45 trillion. Okay.
Ooh, that's a high price.
No. He just $45 trillion going into Bitcoin, which then he said, this is how you get the price. You take $45 trillion, you divide it by 21 million Bitcoin, and it comes out to $2 million for one coin. Now,
Yeah, I'll buy Bitcoin if it goes to 2 million. Just asking.
I'm not buying it if it goes to 2 billion. I'm going to sell when it goes to 2 billion. But so now think about this, okay? Countries are now putting it on their balance sheet. There's countries that are now accepting it as legal tender. There's states in the United States that are allowing you to pay taxes and allowing you to get paid in Bitcoin. There's people in the federal government that are backing Bitcoin and believe that it's a way to save the economics of the United States and to save all that and to help with the inflation. Now you have companies like Amazon. You have you got Tesla, you got SpaceX, you got probably about 30 or 40 companies in the Fortune 500 or the S&P 500 that now either have, hold, or accept Bitcoin. You have now you have banks that are preparing for it, so that's going to give access to Bitcoin to millions of people, hundreds of millions of people. You have Amazon that is preparing to accept it, so you have billions of people globally who use Amazon, who are going to probably at least buy some to try it out. I'm sure of it. Let's just say 5% of a billion people buy $20 of Bitcoin just to try it out on Amazon. It's not a matter of if. At this point, it's just a matter of when.
A matter of when.
And he said 5%. If it's 10%, 15%, now that 2 million is 4, 5, 6.
That's crazy.
So, with all of that, for those to think that it could be expensive, could be anything like that, and you know what? It's going up, baby. Remember, Andy, what was the price before we started recording? I think I said it.
34?
It was around 35.
I think.
35, around 35. Do you know, as of right now, which is about 10 minutes after I told you that, Bitcoin is now $38,200.
Bruh.
It just shot up another $3,000.
Bruh, you know why?
Because it knew I was going to talk about it?
Because it heard the disaster party talking about it. So Bitcoin was like, you know what? Our value just raised. Them boys are talking about it.
Bro, anything under 40,000 is a steal, especially if it ends up at 2 million or more.
Anything under 2 million.
Anything under 100,000 at this point is a steal if the end price is 2 million or more.
That's insane.
And it just went up another 200.
That's insane.
Yep.
I'm telling you, you guys were talking about it.
Okay. All right. So that's it for Bitcoin Rob. All right. Let's go into video game news. You put here remake of Dead Space for PC and next gen consoles.
So I don't know if you guys have played this, but Dead Space to me on the 360 was one of the hardest games I've ever played. I always died every time I played it. I tried to use a little saw gimmick to cut the aliens in half. Never worked out in my favor. But I finally beat it and got through it. apparently they are remaking it for PC and the new gens, so the graphics are going to be 50 times better than what it was. The gameplay should be 50 times better than what it was. Um, and for some reason, I have this deep feeling that it's going to be 50 times harder than what it was. Have you ever played Dead Space?
I never did, but my roommate used to play it. So I used to just kind of watch him play because back then I wasn't really into horror games. Even now, I'm not super into horror games, but
Fair.
I'm always the guy that's like, I'll watch somebody play it, but I don't like that anxiety of playing it.
Fair.
Yeah.
So let me explain how hard it was. I downloaded the demo and couldn't beat the demo for the longest time. I watched Guap play it once, and I was like, oh, all right, that makes sense. Cut off their legs, then you kill them. And then I just winded up doing I think that was the game. Just did 2-player co-op and just ran through it. But I could not beat the demo. That's how hard it was.
Yeah, it's a hard game. I definitely remember watching him play that. But that's
Uh,
exciting. And again, I hope they don't do something like they did with Resident Evil 2, because I thought Resident Evil 2 was so good by itself. But then when they added in the new gen game, they added the guy who follows you around all the time. And
Executioner.
I was not interested. I was like, listen, Resident Evil 2 was so fun by itself. When you start adding this guy who follows you around the whole game, like I'm not interested. Because then that adds that extra stress level, and I'm not about that.
You're like, you got to keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Hmm.
Facts.
All
Facts.
right, so here we go. For movie and TV show news, we have a leaked flash set photos that I have not seen of Michael Keaton's '89 Batman in a Batcave.
The greatest Batmobile that has ever been made. I remember being a kid and owning the toy version of the Batmobile. You press the little back button and the front lit up, and then you press another button and it shot a little missile out. That was my favorite Batmobile. Minus, I take that back. That was my second favorite Batmobile. The first one was the animated series Batmobile, which will always be a classic. But yeah, apparently there's shots inside the Batcave with the Batmobile inside the Batcave. So
Is this Flash the TV show or Flash the movie?
no, it's Flash the movie because
Oh,
Michael Keaton's playing Bruce Wayne slash Batman in the new Flash.
got it. So now, when we go back to the Batmobile discussion, is the animated series Batmobile, is that the one that was thicker, had the little like almost knob in the front, and then when you could pull it out and then it becomes his jet plane?
Yep,
That's the best Batmobile. I
yep,
had that toy and I played with that shit until it broke.
yep.
I wish I kept that because I'm sure that shit would be worth mad money right
I'm sure I have it somewhere in the garage in one of those boxes. But yeah,
now. Yeah.
that was dope. It had a little
Yeah.
bit of sliding deal at the top.
Yep. And then and the wings popped out once you pulled it out.
Yep.
That shit was cool. All right, so this one, I'm not a big fan of this show. I'll go into it if you want. But production of American Horror Story double feature has been shut down due to a COVID scare.
So apparently, a couple people tested positive on set for double feature, and I thought the one they released on Netflix was this year's or this season's American Horror Story.
That's a
But then,
completely different show, isn't it?
yeah, I heard. Well, so it's a completely different show from what's on TV, but that show starts off in the murder house.
Okay.
So it almost it's almost as if that show is literally starting off where the first one started off. So
The
like
first
the
season.
first season of American Horror Story was Murder House.
Okay.
First season of this new Netflix series starts off in Murder House, and it's got like the girl finds like the leather suit that they had with the
Mm.
mask and like starts messing with different things. Um, but yeah, we didn't get an American Horror Story last year for Halloween like we normally do.
I heard that that Netflix show is supposed to be almost like each episode is supposed to be like uh similar to an existing horror thing.
Oh,
Like
okay.
one might be American Horror Story based, the next one might be like Halloween based, and then Nightmare on Elm Street based. Like that's how I understood that.
That's kind of cool then. I dig that because I liked when they did the American Horror Story with the campfire, and it was pretty much like you had a Jason Voorhees feel to it, and then towards the end they completely ruined it. Um,
There's a
but
game like that too that's similar to that. I forgot what it's called. There's a
is it
video game. Huh?
Dead by Daylight?
Yeah, isn't that like it takes a whole bunch of different horror genres or horror like
Yeah,
and it's yeah, so it's I guess it's kind of similar, but I guess now it's the TV show on Netflix.
yeah, yeah. I dig it. I
Yeah,
gotta watch the rest of it. I only saw the first episode of it though.
see those are that's something I have to wait and I can't watch with Taylor because she doesn't like horror shit. So
Fair.
I have to figure out a time to do that on my own. So can I express to you why I don't like American Horror Story?
Go for it.
Okay. I loved the first season.
Murder House was the
Love
best.
I loved it. That first season was fucking great. Great. It was so good. And then the finale happened. And I was done.
Fair.
After all of that, everything that exciting, all the shit that was happening, I was like, this is fucking great. And then the ending happened. Spoiler, it's like 7 seasons ago. Apparently they all died, and then they're all standing around a Christmas tree, pretending to be happy.
Yep.
And I'm like,
Because they're all boys in
and I
the
was like,
house.
that's stupid. And the ending ruined the whole show for me. And after that, I was like, if this show is going to be like this, I'm done. And I literally have not watched one single episode since.
So I have a funny story to tell about American Horror Story, which I still laugh and I still make fun of them to this point. So I'm sorry, Guap, telling the story. So for Freak Show, right? You
But
saw American Horror Story Freak Show. It's like
I saw the title, but I haven't seen it.
okay, so it's carnival based. Long story short, you have this like rich guy who tries to buy the carnival and kind of use them all as like his toys and blah blah blah. Well, he goes on a crazy rage and just starts killing everybody, right? I think if my memory serves me correctly, he either has a revolver or a regular handgun. Okay.
Okay.
And me and Guap are sitting there and we're watching the finale. Homie lets off like 30 rounds in the first like 2 minutes, killing everybody. Spoiler, it happened like 4 years ago. But lets off 30 rounds in like the first 2 minutes. And Guap's just sitting there like, bro, when is he gonna reload? When is he going to he doesn't have that many bullets in the gun. And he just pop, 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 pop. He's like, you ran out of bullets like 5 minutes ago. And it goes on for like 10 minutes. He's just murking everybody. He's like, yo, you ran out of this. I don't believe this. This isn't real now. It's like, yo, it's just a TV show. He's like, no, he should have reloaded. There's not that many bullets. If it was a revolver, then yeah, it's like 30 shots. Revolver only holds like what? 10, 6?
It all depends on the pistol, but it's either 6 or 12, I believe. So,
Yeah.
oh, I do that shit all the time. If I'm watching a movie, I'm like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He could be done here. Okay. 7, 8. Continue. I don't believe this anymore.
See, and they can even like do it in a long form and then reload at some point, and I'll be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I
That
got
makes-
you. Yeah.
And I won't think about it. But this one, he didn't reload at all through the entire rest of the season finale.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about it. Sports and wrestling.
Sports and wrestling.
The Yankees suck. The Yankees are god awful. They are so bad. They are So bad. They should have won. They should have taken 3 out of 4 of the Red Sox, but instead they split. No, they only won 1 out of 4. They should have won 3 out of 4, but they only won 1 out of 4, if I'm correct. And they suck because one of the games, the guy in the 9th inning threw 4 wild pitches and lost the game and a walk-off. And then today, the Yankees pitcher went into the 8th inning with no hits. He did not give up a hit. 10 strikeouts. Awesome game. He gave up 1 hit. The manager took him out. The reliever came in, gave up 5 runs in 1 inning, and they lost.
Why did they just leave him in?
I don't know, but they're so bad. And they're saying that there might be buyers at the deadline, but at this point, it's like they're so far out of first place that if they're buyers, it's literally going to be for nothing. They might as well just be sellers, sell everything. Yeah.
You guys, Yankee fans, what y'all think? Y'all think they're running the season, or they suck?
They suck. I'm a diehard Yankee fan. They suck.
Hey, at least they're not the Mets.
The Mets are doing better than the Yankees. The Mets are in first place.
Oh.
Yep.
I take that back.
Yep. But there's some exciting things about baseball. So you got Fernando Tatis Jr. I think he might be a 50-50 player this year. I'm not even sure if that's ever happened before.
Okay.
So what that means is that he hits 50 home runs and has 50 stolen bases.
Nice.
And I think he's already at 30-30. And you still got the rest of July, the rest of August, September, and early October.
So he's got time to make 50-50.
And I think he might be the first. And then you have Ohtani, who has been one of a really good pitcher, and he's hit 35 home runs already. So he's on pace for like 60 plus home runs.
That's crazy.
Yeah, unheard of. All right, so this part right here, I think we're gonna go to this first. Walter versus Dragunov 2 announced, official.
Stop.
That's gonna be amazing.
Walter versus Dragunov 1 was dope.
And they're doing it at TakeOver, US TakeOver, not NXT UK.
So for y'all who haven't seen Walter versus Dragunov, they beat the dog shit out of each other. So much so, it was super uncomfortable to watch after a while. Like, super uncomfortable to watch after a while. What up, Colleen?
Super uncomfortable. But the last match they had, it was in COVID era, so there was no fans. Because it was NXT UK.
They're going to kill each other.
And now they're doing it at the US NXT TakeOver in front of crowds.
They're going to kill each other.
They're going to kill it. I can't wait. All right, but this is the possibly biggest wrestling news to date.
Okay. Spill it.
Apparently, it's official that both CM Punk and Daniel Bryan have signed with AEW.
I can believe Daniel Bryan might go to AEW.
Apparently it's official.
So they walk out on that stage. I don't believe it.
Well, of course. I mean, it's rumored official. The rumor is CM Punk has been training and he wants to wrestle for AEW because apparently he has stated that when people are like, oh, if you were to come back, who would you wrestle? and the only people he's naming is AEW talents.
Okay.
And apparently there is like legit facts that he's been training. Like it's not hidden that he's been training.
Well, he's been training for a while. Like a while.
And then for Daniel Bryan, we talked about it last week, but apparently WWE has removed him from a bunch of things. And he said that, I guess, well, he didn't say it, but the biggest thing about what he wanted is that he wanted the freedom to go wrestle in Japan. And he wanted limited dates. So basically he wants a contract, but in the contract, he wants to be able to do whatever he wants.
I don't see why not.
If these are both true, okay, and they're saying that Daniel Bryan, because they're saying it's official, is set to make his AEW appearance, his arrival at the New York City show in September.
Okay.
Not the Jersey show. So it basically goes All Out, I think Cincinnati, Jersey, New York.
Okay.
And apparently that is when he is rumored to make his debut.
What up, Brian? All I'm saying is if Punk is actually in AEW, it's got to be at All In Chicago.
Well, yes. Well, okay. I agree with you. But here's the thing. And this is the reason why I don't want that to happen. I'd rather him show up a week before. And then maybe do like a speaking promo at All Out.
So what if? Okay, so let's play from that.
But do you know why though?
Why is that?
So I would like that because I believe that the main event is going to be Omega versus Adam Page.
That would take away from Omega and Adam Page.
And that would take away from Omega and Adam Page. And if Adam Page beats Omega, which I think seems logical, then the discussion of All Out will not be Adam Page finally winning the title after his 2-year journey. It would be CM Punk.
Okay. So
that's why if they do it a week earlier, like have him appear a week earlier and then say he's just going to do a promo at All Out. Like CM Punk speaks, kind of like that shit. So then you got a week before All Out to get people hyped and talking about All Out. And then more people will buy All Out because CM Punk's going to talk, which then will get more eyes on the product, which then the focus could be on the main event.
Okay.
That's my Booker mentality, I'm such a Booker.
Beats Omega, and then Punk's music hits. Punk hits the ring. Page versus Punk.
I would not want Punk to be just shot into the main event like that. Especially he hasn't wrestled in 7.5 years.
Fair, but I can see that happening.
And that would also take away the win. It would take away the amp of the win because then everyone would be like, oh, CM Punk showed up after the main event. But who won the main event? Oh, I don't know. It doesn't matter. CM Punk showed up.
Fair.
That's on if they do it a week earlier, then you have a whole week. Or even if you do it on the Wednesday, because then All Out's normally on Saturday or Sunday, do it on that Wednesday. So then you got fans who are on the fence of buying All Out are now going to be talking about CM Punk for Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday, and then either it's on Saturday or Sunday. So you got 4 or 5 days or 3 or 4 days that people are hyped about CM Punk. and they're like, okay, now I want to buy this fucking pay-per-view.
Unless, well, and I don't think this is going to happen, but unless AEW does a WrestleMania type deal, they have All In Chicago for a pay-per-view, and the first Dynamite is also in Chicago, kind of like a Mania and Raw type deal.
I think it is. I think it goes. I think because you got to think by that point, Rampage is going to be. I think Rampage starts the first week of August on Fridays. So I think it is Wednesday Chicago, Friday Chicago, and then the pay-per-view.
So then, if that's the case, then they could leave him to Dynamite and not all in.
Yeah, which would be sick. Dude, I think that will change wrestling landscape.
Well,
if both are true. Both are true.
There's a ton of things that have already changed the wrestling landscape.
I think it would be bigger than Nash and Hall to WCW. Because CM Punk has been known, and people still follow his career, as one of the best talkers in WWE. And people loved him as like the champion. Like that was people basically he was the closest thing to Stone Cold after Stone Cold in WWE.
Okay, I can see that.
Then when the Yes Movement with Daniel Bryan, then he kind of took over that, and then he kind of became the biggest star as close as you can get to Stone Cold without being Stone Cold.
Okay.
So you take two of the biggest stars of the last 10 years. And I mean, then if you think about it, maybe John Cena you add in there, which again, John Cena in outside wrestling world, cool. But CM Punk and Daniel Bryan not only were big in wrestling, but they became bigger stars outside. Because you got to think, CM Punk is a bigger name because of UFC. But again, his name got out there more. So now there's UFC fans that know his name. Whether they think he's a good fighter or not, they know his name, that they might have not known his name in WWE.
I would have said that Marvel got his name out there more than UFC did.
Well, then you add that to the UFC because he was writing for Marvel for a while, right?
Okay.
And then he was doing the Fox show for WWE for a while too. Then you got Daniel Bryan, who is not only one of the top stars in WWE in the last 10 years, he was also on Total Divas, Total Bellas, wrote his own book. He had that big storyline of him coming back from retirement, and that was a big thing. A lot of ESPN covered that. All the other places covered that. So he's a huge name. So you got these two people who could possibly have signed to the same company outside WWE, after WWE, possibly at the same time. I think both of them are bigger than Nash and Hall ever were. Especially if you take the time frame or the year, you gotta think social media is bigger than whatever was around in the Monday Night Wars.
Well, that's the only thing that gives them that edge of social media. So for what they were given, yes, maybe. But if they were both that equal landscape, I still think Hall and Nash would be more, because Nash left right after his championship reign.
So did CM Punk.
Yeah, but CM Punk's been gone for how many years?
7.5.
Nash was gone for how long? 90 days?
Maybe not even. I don't even think they had the 90-day clause at that point.
No, actually, because isn't that close to around the time when Rude was on both?
Yeah, that was around the same time. If not, like within a week or two.
So I don't know. I mean, either way, it's huge for AEW.
But then also think Daniel Bryan was just in the main event of WrestleMania this year. It was the triple threat. Roman Reigns, Edge, and Daniel Bryan was the triple threat main event.
You're right.
on night
Two.
2. So now you have a WWE WrestleMania main eventer on top of multi-time champion, on top of everything else I said. I don't know, man. I think that'd be really cool.
Regardless, it's definitely huge.
And think about these guys, again, not saying anything bad about WWE, but you know that they kind of tone down the way they wrestle. They tone it down. It's not as indie-rific as you would say, and they don't have, like, they're not allowed to use certain moves. I mean, that's known. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not allowed to do certain things in WWE. That's just, but again, they do it for safety reasons. So it's not saying anything bad about it. But you know, if you've seen Daniel Bryan and CM Punk's matches before WWE, they definitely wrestled a more aggressive, fast-paced, if you want to say indie-rific style before getting to WWE. So now you got that style plus what they've mastered in WWE. On top of both of them have become better promos in WWE. And you got these guys that are young, fresh, like dude, Daniel Bryan versus Darby Allin. Dude, CM Punk and MJF in a mic off.
That'd be fun.
Daniel Bryan versus like anybody, Omega, the Bucks as an individual match, like Jungle Boy, you know what I'm saying? Like MJF, Darby, Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky, like, bro. I'm more excited about the match quality with Daniel Bryan versus the mic ability with CM Punk.
I think it's gonna be awesome both ways. Because there's so many people that they can work with that you wouldn't normally see them work with. Mm-hmm. Not only just in AEW, but in New Japan and Impact and
because the forbidden door is open, baby.
Like, it's gonna be dope. It's gonna be dope. Switchblade versus, or not Switchblade,
yeah,
Jay White versus CM Punk.
Dude, Switchblade Jay White, yeah. Dude, yeah. Okada versus fucking Daniel Bryan.
That'd be fucking dope.
Bruh.
Be dope.
You know what I'm saying? Like, sign me up. I'm excited. All right, so that's it for our news roundup. The 3 questions. I mean, we already know one. So Loki, you haven't watched it yet, but we're gonna watch it before we review it.
Nope.
We still have to set a pod date for The Office round 2.
We do,
but I think we settled that we were gonna do it just a year.
Official? Are we gonna do it a year?
A year from when we did the last one.
Yeah.
Okay, we could do that.
Okay. So I will watch The Office and finish The Office so we can review The Office again, a revisit, so to speak, a year to the date of when we had the first Office episode.
Which was December 13th, which is when we released it. So if we go back, so I'm assuming that the 13th, so we recorded that. Oh, so we released it that night.
Yep.
So if we go the 13th, so then we have to do a year. So it has to be on a recording date. So it'd be December 12th.
December 12th. We might have recorded it on the 12th.
No, the 12th was a Saturday.
Oh, was it Saturday?
Mm.
Okay.
So I'm going to put
it. Yeah. I will watch the rest of The Office. I'll binge it. And we'll review it. We'll revisit it.
I'm putting that in right now.
And it's official, because now it's actually on the calendar.
It's on the calendar.
So now I have to do it.
Now you have to do it. All right. So, and then we can add passport.
No.
Bro, can I tell you something?
Banks is going to have his before I get mine.
Yep, because we went on Thursday. And we sent in all the paperwork. We went to the DMV.
Yeah.
And they did everything there. They took the photo. They took all the paperwork. They took everything. and we sent it in, and now it's just waiting. Now we just wait.
Oh,
Yep.
nice.
And there was no line. We were in 5 minutes.
You went to the DMV and there was no line?
Well, there was no line where the passports are. Because like in where we went, it's like half of it was the DMV and the half of it was the county clerk.
Gotcha.
And we printed out the papers at home, filled out all the papers. So all we had to do is go there, and they took the photo there, so we don't have to worry about it. And they just took everything that we had. They took the photo, attached it, went. It took 5 minutes.
Nice.
5 minutes it took.
5 minutes. 5 minutes. Brian said, finally we're revisiting The Office.
I know, right?
It only took me a year. It's all good.
It's all good. All right, so why don't we plug in what's going to happen next? So for those who are listening right now, for those who are on the IG Live, we are going to be recording our episode Loki Part 2. So that's going to be reviewing episode 4, 5, and 6. If you haven't seen Loki, I would say watch it before you listen. There's going to be a full of spoilers, and holy shit, how Loki is going to affect the rest of the MCU moving forward.
I'm excited, but I already knew that he was gonna somehow, some way, this series was gonna affect the MCU. Loki's too big of a name and too big of a character not to.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the week after that, August 1st, we have your boy.
Oh, well, Daddy. It's the one, the only, the most interesting man in professional wrestling. Well, it used to be interesting man in professional wrestling because he has retired. But it's Craig Francis, a.k.a. CJ Doyen, coming on, talking all things of his music, his career, his band, 25 and Out. If you guys haven't already, check him out. Check out Bottles by Bedside. I'm going to be asking him a ton of questions on that. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. Former tag partner. And who knows, maybe I'll still try to get it in his ear to come back. Come back, Francis.
All right, after that, we have August 8th, and we decided we're going to review HBO Max's very own Space Jam, the new one with LeBron James. So we're going to review that on August 8th. August 15th, we have El Jefe Marv coming on to talk all things cannabis.
Ooh, smoke chiba chiba.
Yeah, we are. And then we have August 22nd, our Summer Slam craziness. Again, for those who don't know, I'm having people over for SummerSlam, baby. And we are going to enjoy the time together. We're going to barbecue. We're going to drink. We're going to have a good old time. And we are going to record pre, mid, and post to see how it sounds. And it might be a hot mess, but we're doing it anyway, baby.
You know, I just thought of something. It's going to be a hot mess. We're going to get canceled. And I think I might go live for that.
When? At what point?
Who knows?
Okay.
Who knows?
I'm down with it.
We're live.
I'm down with it. I am down. All right, then. I think this is it for the news roundup. Again, just be prepared for this episode to drop tomorrow and for our Loki episode to drop on Tuesday. For the Disaster Party podcast, this is Rob Cedeno.
Oh, whoa, Daddy, it's your boy Andy Vivians.
IG Live, see you later. Pod World, see you later. Bye.